All right, mates, you read that title. This is 5 contract targets for the Cowboys come that November 1 deadline. I'm your host, Phoenix Trinidad. This is Darren Parkin. Darren, the Cowboys, pretty disappointing.
Yeah, they've been perennial underachievers. They poke their heads up occasionally and look semi-dangerous, but never look the contender that perhaps the expectation is that they should be. Todd Payton, he's going to enter the season under a fair bit of heat, and that's probably the one other factor, or the elephant in the room, is if you're looking beyond 2026, what do you think the Cowboys are going to look like if you're a player? So, interesting times.
Yep. Absolutely. All right. So before we get into the 5 options, just remember this video is brought to you by ZeroTackle.com. Not only is it Australia's #1 independent NRL news source, we also have games on there. Go ahead and check that out. They're really fun. Also subscribe to this YouTube channel if you haven't already. We have plenty of NRL content coming out all the time during the off season. Footy never stops. So with all that out of the way, let's take a look at 5 November 1 contract targets for the Cowboys. Alrighty, Darren. So as we mentioned, a little bit of uncertainty around the Cowboys. Taking a look at their 2027 squad, they only have 11 players signed currently. So it's going to be an interesting one for them.
Yeah, compare that to the Knights, who have 22. So, fascinating. The Cowboys, I think the game that we saw together up at Magic Round kind of summed up their year, where they were ordinary for patches and then they'd put something together, almost pinch a victory. So there is certainly some talent there if they can tap into it and settle down. But obviously a lot of holes in terms of the list. The nucleus okay. Reed Money coming across from the Bulldogs. They've replaced Robson. Dearden, Drinkwater, Cotter, etc. already locked in. Dearden obviously super important through the Origin time as well. They certainly need more depth in the forwards as well. Yeah. Centre and wing with question marks. So a pretty open side of the park for the Cowboys. Only a handful of players, that we can really depend on being there long term. So they've obviously got quite a few things to address.
Yep. Absolutely. So let's address them with our first option. Number 1 from the Rabbitohs are going Keon Kaloa-Matangi.
Yeah. You're going to see some big name players on this list. It's going to be a little bit less about the money ball, for want of a better expression.
Yep.
They'll be able to fill up the back end of their squad with some local players. Their development pool is pretty good. Their salary cap, not awful either in terms of some of the space. So, even though they're paying some of their top echelon a little bit, they certainly need a game-breaking forward. They used to obviously have that in Tamalolo as well, but he's certainly slowing down and will probably be gone by then. Ruben Connor, one of the best options in the competition. But he's known more for work rate rather than being necessarily a game changer in the short space of time. So Kaloa-Matangi maybe could be someone that they could look at to be an explosive asset.
Yep, absolutely exciting one. Another one. So from the Sharks, option number 2, Jesse Ramian. Would be nice to see him pair up with Drinkwater and Dearden.
Yeah, I mean, Jackson Purdue most likely to re-sign for the Cowboys, but, the long-term hold probably a little bit up in the air as well. Purdue's his form out wide late in the season showed that what the Cowboys had been missing a little bit throughout the course of the year. But you certainly need all of the players in that sort of area to be contributing meters. So Ramian has some deficiencies in his game. But we spoke when we did the Sharks one of these that their salary cap is kind of on the edge. He might be a player that they look to move on at the end of 2026. And maybe at the Cowboys, given what he would have around him, would be a good fit.
Yep, absolutely. So moving out to option number 3, Morgan Smithies from the Raiders. Before we get into the actual idea of what he is as a player, imagine going from Canberra to North Queensland.
Imagine your surname being a nickname as well.
Yeah,
Smithies.
exactly.
So people would assume his nickname is Smith and you're just calling him Smithies. But, only 24 years of age, and as you say, I mean, A, climate, but B, obviously the position of the club as well. I couldn't imagine different weather in June on a Saturday
coming
night.
from England, then to Canberra, then to North Queensland.
That's right. It's what is this thing? Oh, it's called humidity. So often played a bench role at Canberra, but was such an enormous factor in their explosive rise up the ladder. But being that bench player, obviously there's chances for some more regular spots. He'll be sought after by a number of clubs based on that pedigree. He could slot straight into the front row in Townsville, or at the very least become a long-term lock forward once Tomalolo hangs up the boots at the end of 2027. So good enough to be a regular starter.
Yep, absolutely. So option number 4, a name that's popped up quite a bit. Obviously, he's getting pushed out of that Melbourne Storm side a little bit. Tyron Wishart.
Yeah, going to pop up on a number of radars, as we said, but could be a realistic option. Given the way he's caught behind some of those stars at Melbourne, although that factors into their push to retain as well. They could offer him the number 6 jumper immediately, which might be enough to tip him over the edge. That's where he wants to play. It's a role he's probably most suited to, given his running and passing abilities. So, yeah, maybe that, immediate impact could be enough to lure him there.
Yep. And option number 5, so Tyron Wishart's been a bit of a miss to fix it, but so has Nick Meaney, and that's our number 5 option.
Yeah, might be able to land a couple of the Melbourne boys, but you'd slide into the back line wherever they potentially have a vacancy. The Purdue future that we talk about a lot, they could be there, therefore looking for some versatility. He's been missed to fix it at Melbourne, fullback, wing, centre, 5/8, played all of those roles. Can also do some kicking as well. So, and he's a very consistent player, which is unusual when you are a Mr. Fix-It type. So, and he wouldn't be particularly expensive.
Yep. Absolutely. All right, that is 5 options for the Cowboys. Let us know in the comments what you think. Subscribe to the YouTube channel if you haven't already. Again, plenty of content in the off season, and we'll catch you on the next one.